Today we're going to start talking about the ablative case. The first thing we need to know about the ablative case in Latin is that we can never just say something is ablative. We always have to say it's ablative of something. So this year we're going to learn phrases like ablative of manner, ablative of means, ablative of accompaniment, and we're going to start today with ablative of place where. It's going to be a use of the ablative case that shows us the place where something is. Before I get into this explanation, we'll take a look at some examples. So this is from our textbook, Lingua Latina. In our first page, first paragraph, we have a lot of uses of the ablative of place where. We have in Italia, in Europa, many in Europas, in fact. And then we have in Africa, in Asia. Those are going to translate respectively as in Italy, in Europe, in Africa, and in Asia. I chose the meaning of in for the Latin word in here because we're talking about geographic location, so that makes sense in this context. Looking to our second chapter in the same textbook, it's talking to us about our textbook, which is called Lingua Latina. So they say down here, in Lingua Latina sunt multae paginae. In Lingua Latina are many pages. And then later on we have in capitulo secundo, in the second chapter, in pagina prima, on the first page. So sometimes you'll see this ablative phrase be a noun and an adjective together, like capitulo secundo and pagina prima. Those are noun adjective pairs that have the same ending. So they're all in the same case because they're coming after the Latin preposition in, which is going to take the ablative case. A few more examples here. A great way to recognize an ablative of place where is that it always is a little short prepositional phrase. It always starts with the word in Latin. Always is going to use the word in because it shows location in or on. And going back to my formation explanation here, we always use the Latin word in, which in English is in or on, plus a Latin noun in the ablative case, and that can be singular or plural. So we'll go back at those examples. We see that all of these examples start with in, as they did in the textbook. So pisces in aqua natunt. If I'm trying to recognize my ablative, I'm going to start with the word in, and then I'm going to ask myself either the question ubi or the question quo. And those both translate into English as where. So ubi sunt pisces, where are the fish? They in aqua sunt, they're in the water. Romani in lectis dormiant, where do Romans sleep? Ubi dormiant Romani? In lectis, in their beds. Milites Romani in equis sunt. The Roman soldiers are on horses. So here I translated in as on rather than in. In or on over here. How do I choose which meaning? It all depends on context. So very obviously by this picture, the Romans are on top of their horses and not inside of them. Same thing here with tabulae in mensis sunt. Ubi sunt tabulae, where are the notebooks? In mensis, on top of the tables. So I would translate that as on the tables because they're not inside of them. So sometimes it's going to be in, sometimes it's going to be on. We're going to base that on context. And just to wrap up here, the ablative of place where is a use of the ablative case to show static location. And I said static because static means things that are not moving. And so in all of those examples, the Romans were not moving around on top of the horses. The books were not moving around on top of the tables. It's not moving into something, it's not moving onto something, it's always translating as in or on. And that's why I say static location. That's going to be important later. And then you follow the Latin word in with a noun in the ablative that's going to end in either an A, an O, sometimes an IS. It'll depend on the declension ending. All right, gratias vobis, and we will resume in class. Gratias.